Yet one of the most widely worshipped figures in Indian history has no verifiable birth record, and we still do not know his original name. The sheer scale of his anonymity is staggering. There are no known parents, no confirmed birthplace, no definitive record of his childhood religion. Historians estimate he was born around 1838, but the accounts of his early years immediately split. Some historical texts claim he was born to Hindu Brahmins, while oral traditions insist he was raised by Sufi fakirs. He chose the harsh, wandering lifestyle of a 19th-century mystic. By adopting the ragged dress and extreme ascetic practices of this path, he began to occupy a space between the era's strict religious lines. Even the details of his spiritual training are missing from the record, though unverified stories suggest he studied under a mysterious guru named Venkusha. Contrast those shadowy, uncertain beginnings with the definitive, universally recognized and authoritative figure he would eventually become. In a society where birth and caste dictated every social interaction, arriving as a blank slate was a radical disruption. By entering 19th-century India without a defined past, he essentially forced those who met him to look past his lineage and judge him solely by his presence. The timeline jumps forward to the village of Shirdi. Here, he first appears in the historical record as an unknown 16-year-old boy, sitting in deep meditation under the roots of a neem tree. His asceticism was extreme. He maintained complete silence and sat entirely exposed, ignoring the intense heat of the day and the biting cold of the night. This level of discipline provoked polarized reactions from the locals. Some villagers threw stones at him in skepticism, while others recognized a spiritual presence and began to offer him worship. Then, as quietly as he had arrived, he vanished from Shirdi, leaving the villagers with a mystery they couldn't solve. This initial period of extreme detachment firmly established his spiritual gravity. He offered no doctrine to debate and no defense against his skeptics. His sheer physical discipline alone became his defining characteristic. Years later, in a dense remote forest, a wealthy man named Chand Patil was searching frantically for his prized missing horse. He stumbled upon the nameless boy, now appearing as a young fakir. Without being prompted, the fakir pointed out the exact hidden location of Patil's horse. But the catalyst for his legend occurred moments later. The fakir struck the dry earth with his wooden stick, known as a satka, and instantly produced both water and fire from the barren ground. He didn't use this display to demand worship. He simply used the elements to light his smoking pipe. This casual command over nature left Patil completely stunned. Confronted with this undeniable power, Chand Patil immediately invited the fakir to join his family's wedding procession, which was making its way back to Shirdi. This encounter marks the transition in his story. The silent, meditating ascetic was now demonstrating active power, moving from a passive observer to an active force in the lives of others. In 1858, the wedding cart and its procession finally arrived back at the borders of Shirdi. They stopped at the Khandoba temple, a highly traditional Hindu stase on the edge of the village. Consider the friction of this moment. The nameless mystic stepped down from the cart, dressed entirely in the garb of a Muslim fakir, and approached the steps of the Hindu temple. The temple priest, a man named Malsapati, watched him approach. Yet, instead of turning the stranger away, Malsapati experienced a sudden, overwhelming sense of recognition. As the young fakir reached him, the priest folded his hands in reverence and uttered exactly 2 words, Ya Sai, welcome, Divine One. This was a literal intersection of 2 systems that rarely touched. A Brahmin priest, the guardian of Hindu ritual, had extended a religious welcome to a man dressed as a Muslim Sufi. From that single cross-cultural greeting, the permanent identity Shirdi Sai Baba was born. Shirdi Sai Baba's legacy suggests that a lack of recorded history was not an obstacle to his influence. Instead, it became the very tool that allowed him to stand in the center of India's deepest religious divides.